Town calls are mounting for President Cyril Ramaphosa to declare a state of disaster as gun violence continues to tear through communities on the Cape Flats. At least 17 people were shot on Wednesday alone, leaving 9 dead and 8 wounded in a wave of attacks stretching from Lentegeur to Nyanga, Mannenberg and Heideveld. Yesterday alone, 2 women were killed, 8 others wounded following a shooting at a taxi rank in Nyanga in Cape Town. Police say the shootings include 2 mass incidents, one believed to be linked to taxi violence involving the Cape Amalgamated Taxi Association. Let's bring in the Western Cape Police spokesperson, Andrè Traut, now to talk about what they understand as police and what the plan is going forward. Andrè, good morning to you on this morning of grief and blood, no doubt. Another morning that is similar to many other mornings on the Cape Flats, because in the past 72 hours, nearly 30 people were murdered across the Cape Flats. 9 of those people, Andrè, in a single day. What does this tell us about the level of control that police actually have on the ground? Can you admit that the streets now belong to the thugs, Andrè?
Absolutely not. We are deploying high numbers of police officers on the streets. We have numerous crime prevention and operations, Operation Chanela 2, Lockdown 3, when large numbers of police officers are deployed to fight and curb the violence. We had incidences yesterday. 1 in the morning, 3 people were found shot and killed in a vehicle. 1 female, 2 men. We are still investigating the circumstances surrounding this incident. And although it's got the hallmark of a gang-related incident, we don't want to speculate at this stage, but we are pursuing all avenues. And then late in the morning, yesterday morning, unknown gunmen opened fire at commuters at a taxi rank in Nyanga, which left 2 females dead and 8 others injured. We believe this is related to the taxi violence in the Western Cape. We have immediately deployed high numbers of police officers to Nyanga to quell the violence, and we will remain on the ground until we are satisfied that the violence has stopped. On a daily basis, our operations are directed at firearm-related crime, as firearms are the weapon of choice in the Western Cape.
Yeah.
And numbers of firearms are being confiscated and suspects arrested on a daily basis.
Andrè, you responded very firmly to the question of whether the streets have fallen to the gangs or fallen to criminal elements. But the reality is the numbers are just outrageous for so many people to die on a single day. And this is not just 1 week out of the life of people in the Cape Flats. This is weeks and months and years of the same thing. How can you credibly tell South Africans that you don't have the situation in control?
Yeah, we've got the situation under control. We have resources to curb the crime in the Western Cape. As I said before, high numbers of police officers are deployed. We also depend on the community to bring us information so that they can live and not harbor these criminals. You know, come to the police, use our toll-free numbers, our mobile application to report criminals and assist us in fighting crime. We have communities that don't want to speak out because they are scared, but we open our channels and say, approach us and
We seem to have lost our line to Andrè Traut. We will try to re-establish. Andrè is adamant that police are still in control. It's certainly the facts on the ground, the deaths on the ground, the numbers of bodies under the ground don't bear out this picture that the Western Cape Police is sharing with us. They do have the situation under control. I mean, I'm hearing you say, and we heard, Acting Minister Feroz Kachalia, the police minister, saying that there isn't an operational plan to deal with the violence on the Cape Flats. So there aren't the resources that are needed. And despite what you're saying, Andrè, and I want to believe you, but every day people are being killed. Let's move then to the anatomy of the profile of these killings. There are women in taxi ranks that are killed, to young men that are executed in cars. In some instances, it seems as if the killings and the murders are indiscriminate. Are these random acts of violence? Are they territorial disputes? Are they targeted hits? What is your crime intelligence telling you, Andrè?
Well, we have a gang situation in the Western Cape. That's why we've got a very highly successful anti-gang unit that's on the ground investigating gang-related crimes and doing crime prevention patrols on a daily basis in crime-affected areas. So yes, we do have a gang situation, and we are fighting gangsterism with all our might. Then there we have the taxi incidents. The two incidents yesterday are obviously not related. The one seems to be a taxi-related incident where unknown gunmen opened fire on commuters in a taxi rank. We believe it's to do with a collection of taxi money, and we regard this as a taxi-related incident. The first one in the morning, as I said before, it looks like a gang-related incident, but we don't want to speculate at this stage. We want to get the investigation underway so that we can determine the exact cause and the motive for the incident. But yes, we're not saying all the killings in the Western Cape are related. We have robberies, taxi-related crimes, and then obviously gangsterism as well.
What we're hearing from the community is that they feel like the police are outgunned and outnumbered because gangs are also using military-grade weapons. How true is that? And do you have the firepower as the police, together with the intelligence, to confront these gangs on an equal footing?
From an operational point of view, we have an operational plan in the Western Cape. We recently launched the festive season operational plan. Together with the Western Cape operational plan, we are fighting the violence and gang-related crime in the Western Cape. As I said before, we have numerous crime operations, a Lockdown 3 and Operation Shenela 2, that puts high numbers of police officers on the ground to assist the local police and our specialized units to fight the gang violence. And we have, from an operational point of view, we have enough resources to use. I said it before, many firearms are confiscated on a daily basis, and we send these criminals to court.
You know, Andrè, so I'm hearing from you that you do have the resources that you need to deal with the situation. You, in response to my questions, are saying we absolutely have the situation in hand. We have it under control. We are highly successful. When will you, I mean, how many more bodies is it going to take for the police to admit defeat, that they are outgunned, outwitted, outsmarted by these gangs or these criminal elements on the ground that are effectively holding our communities hostage? When will you just admit that whatever you're doing is simply not working?
Yeah, we're definitely not outwitted and outsmarted by gangsters. That's not true. We admit that we have a gang situation. We also say
but it's not a gang situation, Andrè. I'm sorry to jump back in there, but when you think about the numbers, and I don't have all the consolidated stats, so if you want to correct the numbers, please feel free to do so, because you would have them better than me. But 4,845 murders in the 23-24 financial year alone, a lot of them concentrated in these areas that we are talking about. This is not a picture of success.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk crime figures right now. The crime stats are released by the police minister on a quarterly basis, so I'm not going to discuss the crime stats at this stage. What I'm saying that is that we are deploying high numbers of police officers to fight gang violence, and we also make an appeal to the community to deliver these criminals. If they keep on harboring criminals in their communities, we're obviously not going to be highly successful. But on a daily basis, we are sending gangsters and criminals to court. We are confiscating high numbers of firearms on a daily basis, and we will continue with our anti-crime fighting operations to bring a stability in the Western Cape.
Again, you know, I'm just shaking my head, Andrè, and I know that it's early in the morning to have a combative discussion, but when you think about communities who say, in Lentegeur and Younger and Munnenberg, they say we're just abandoned. Police show up late, if they show up at all. That the crime intelligence doesn't seem to be there to be proactively heading these attacks off at the pass. That communities are still under siege. I mean, let me ask you this. If 30 tourists had to be killed in Cape Town over the last 3 days, would the response that you're applying to these communities be the same that you apply in a situation like that?
Well, when a crime situation like yesterday, that the two crime scenes were attended perfectly, you know, we dispatch our our detectives. We immediately deploy high numbers of police officers to quell the violence. And yeah, all crimes are treated equally.
There are calls for the president to declare disaster in these affected areas. Gun violence, as we said in the introduction, they're continuing to tear through those communities. Do you support that call?
I'm not going to go into politics.
It's not political, it is operational, because declaring a disaster means that certain resources would be brought to bear. There would be a different approach to stemming the blood flow in these affected areas.
From an operational point of view, and from my side, I can say what operation is being done. We have the resources in the Western Cape. We are not outwitted or outsmarted by gangsters. That's why we are taking them to court on a daily basis in numbers. We've taken kingpins out from the streets, and on a daily basis, we confiscate firearms, and our operations are directed at curbing the gang and crime-related.
So the numbers should go down. We shouldn't see mass killings in the next 2 days, 3 days, next week, next month. It should be going in reverse because your operational plan, you're still in charge of things, is working. Right, Andrè? Is that the guarantee you give to communities?
We will remain to put our police officers and our resources on the ground to protect the Western Cape community.
We'll leave it there. Andrè Traut, thanks for talking to us this morning. He is, we're out of time, the police spokesperson in the Western Cape.